मोटरसाइकल अब यो टेम्पो माइक्रोहरूले पनि अलिकति हेपेर चलाउँछन् कि
गाह्रै छ अब नजान्नेलाई गाह्रै छ हामीले जोगेर हिँड्नुपर्छ त्यही भएर
साइकल चलाउन सजिलो कहाँ गाह्रो छ नि सर यहाँ त धेरै बाटोमा गाडी चलिरहेको छ एक्सिडेन्ट हुन्छ के धेरै फोहोर मैलाहरू पर्छ
आजको चाहिँ नि तपाईँको 15-20 वर्ष पहिला चाहिँ नि तपाईँको साइकल चलाउने चाहिँ नि तपाईँको यहाँ ठुलो ठुलो मान्छे चलाउँथ्यो
My name is Sailendra Dongal. Cycle has become a part of my life. I cannot imagine me going around Kathmandu without bicycle. We like envision Kathmandu to become a cycle-friendly city by 2020. When the streets are safe, when there is not much of traffic, people come on the streets on their bicycles. So I think that's a symptom for people that if they have bicycle lanes and if there is safety and if there is cycle parking infrastructure, better cycling infrastructures, the number will certainly go up.
I think that has the gel of what Kathmandu Cycle City is trying to do. Reinforce cycle as a better medium of transportation and a better lifestyle rather than trying to indicate like motor vehicles and that and all are actually the indication of development.
A few months earlier we did a mega cycle rally for Cycle Lane that actually made a huge impact. It was covered by lots of medias and now it's a Cycle Lane is a national level discussions now.
They made this an issue. So they made people realize in the city, politicians, entrepreneurs, general citizens of the country, that cycling is an important part of our culture, of our living standards.
I'm really very optimistic about having cycles in Kathmandu and I see the future. Not only because it is affordable, but it is going to help to reduce the pollution also. Not only pollution, it is going to help us to reduce the import of fuels also.
Because of this congestion problem that everybody realizes and the pollution problem that everybody realizes right now, that people are looking at alternatives. What can be an alternative? And cycling, of course, is a good one. Bicyclists don't get the respects they deserve. On the streets of Kathmandu, whichever vehicle is big has the right of way. That's the general rule. So the cyclists have to, give the way to some other vehicle all the time. Of course, we don't have bicycle lanes, and also cycling is seen as, almost like an uncivilized or something that is a thing of the past or something. Yeah? If you want to be modern, ride a car. If you want to be cool, motorbike, car.
The motorcycles, what happened is a status symbol.
You don't want to look uncool among your friends, right? Generally, when you say cycle in Kathmandu, those are the ones who can't afford a motorbike.
अब चाहिँ नि तपाईको के मान्छेको सोचाइ के भन्छ साइकल चलाउने लेबर क्लासको मान्छे होला कि भन्ने जस्तो मोटरसाइकल चलाउने अथवा गाडी चलाउने मान्छेहरुले त्यस्तो समथिङ गर्छ त्यही लेबर क्लास भएको मान्छे होला.
It's not a poor man's ride, but it's a medium of transportation or maybe a medium of mobility. Whoever rides on a bicycle, they should ride with pride, not feeling that they are poor or they don't have money or something. It's not with the status, but it's with the pride you carry it along when you ride the bicycle.
नमस्कार अनि हार्दिक स्वागत छ कार्यक्रम सडक र सवारीमा. कार्यक्रमको साथमा छु म समृद्धि ढकाल
र म शैलेन्द्र डंगुल.
साइक्लिङ इन मनसुन अर्थात् पानी पर्दाको बखत साइक्लिङ गर्दाखेरि
This program is called Sadak Ka Savari and it comes every Tuesday. We call them and we interact with them. We share their experience, and that way we are like encouraging more people to come into cycling.
हजुर धन्यवाद.
तपाई पनि पक्कै पनि साइक्लिङ गर्नुहुन्छ होला?
हजुर म नि साइक्लिङ गर्छु. म अहिले पनि साइक्लिङ गर्दै छु यहाँ. म साइक्लिङ गर्दै जाँदाखेरि हजुरको कार्यक्रम आउँछ भनेर यहाँ यसो साइडमा पसलमा गएर फोन गर्दै छु.
ए हजुर धन्यवाद. अनि साइक्लिङ इन मनसुन अर्थात पानी पर्दाखेरि साइक्लिङ गर्दाखेरिको तपाईको अनुभव हामीले बुझ्दै छौं हैन? के प्रब्लम्सहरु तपाईले पाइराख्नु भएको छ? कस्तो छ साइक्लिङ गर्दाखेरि मनसुनमा?
साइक्लिङ गर्दाखेरि मनसुनमा मेन अब काठमाडौँको बाटोमा र साइक्लिङ गर्दाखेरि मेन भनेको त अब अवश्य पनि हिलो नै हो. अब चिप्लो बाटो ले गर्दाखेरि अलिकति अप्ठ्यारो महसुस हुने. अब साइकल यसै पनि अब बिस्तार कुदिन्छ. अब अरूले हिलो छ्याप्दिने, अरूले अलिकति पेल नखोज्ने बाटोमा जाँदा अब भनौँ न यो समस्याहरू चाहिँ अलिकति देखिरहेको छु. मैले चाहिँ फिल गरिरहेको छु.
हजुर धन्यवाद तपाईलाई धेरै धेरै.
हजुर हस् थ्यांक यू.
You can relate it with health, you can relate it with education, you can relate it with urbanization, you can relate it with the oil crisis or something. There are lots of issues, but when Kathmandu Cycle City as a whole, it's a solution to all of these problems. So I think it's a unique issue in itself, and it's a common issue in itself.
Also, if you look at the population of this valley, most of the people are young people. Right, the population curve as it grows, what will happen? There will be more young people that's going to be added. What do young people like? Where, what kind of transportation means would they adopt? Naturally, bicycling is something that they can associate with more. B, because it's cheap. A young person who is just graduated from high school cannot afford to buy a car. B, because it's something that could be cool for them. So if you look at the future, bicycle infrastructure is definitely something that the government should invest in. And also, as far as this 1.6% figure is concerned, that's the whole point. If you invest in this infrastructure, I think we can go to 5%, 6%, 7% quite easily.
Remember, Kathmandu is a very ancient city. People have been riding bicycles for a long time. Before we got all these cars and vehicles in the city, people used to ride bicycles.
Why are you wearing a mask? अनि मास्क किन लगाइरहेको भनिदिनुस् न.
त्यो मास्क चाहिँ फोहोरबाट धुलोबाट बच्नको लागि.
मास्क त अब हिजो बर्खामा अलिकति कमै हुन्छ, भोलिपल्ट त मास्क नलाग्दा कामै छैन.
Every day 5 people are killed due to air pollution. That means like every year it's about 1600 people killed.
Kathmandu is a bowl-shaped valley. It's very difficult to get the polluted air out of the valley because of its geographical or natural shape.
The air is polluted, and we've done studies, and that clearly shows that Kathmandu is one of the most polluted city in the world when it comes to particulate matter.
In general, there is an increasing trend, and the level in the most urban area centers has been almost 3 times or 4 times higher than the general WHO threshold, or even from the Nepalese threshold level. To the people, one of the most direct effect of the air pollution is to the respiratory health. So respiratory health is the major issue, in addition to irritation, allergy, and things like that.
Our senior elder people know how the rivers were and how the air quality was and that and all. But for us, we grew up in the situation it is right now. So we really don't realize the critical condition we are living in.
This increase in PM10 level is about 70 to 80% is due to the emission from the vehicles only. So if we try to reduce, or if we try to change the mode of transportation, probably there could be a really big shift in this PM10 level also.
We have to shift people from cars and motorbikes to bigger buses or non-motorized transportation systems such as walking and cycling. And Kathmandu is relatively, it's a smaller city, so it's very walkable and it's very cyclable city.
This is a country which imports all its fossil fuels, diesel, petroleum, and spending huge amounts of money in that. So if you want economic development and cut down on this cost of energy and petroleum, You have to get away from that.
We don't have like petrol reserves, or like we have to be dependent on the other country, foreign country. So at times, and that times are very long, so we don't have like petrol coming in. So at that time, so you can see a long queue, like along the line, of very few vehicles on the road.
Some of my uncle even comment that if you had rode a motorbike now, you must have spent a lot of money on petrol. Thank God you are just riding bicycle and saving your money as well as country's money.
अहिले 1 लिटरको 120 रुपैयाँ।
अनि कति वर्ष भयो साइकल मोटरसाइकल चलाउनुमा?
मैले 4 वर्ष भयो।
4 वर्षमा एकदमै बढेको छ।
एकदमै सोचे भन्दा एकदमै बढेको।
किन होला यस्तो?
यो के हो भने हाम्रो देशमा यो खनिज यो तेलको अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय बजारमा पनि महँगो छ, त्यसकारण नै हो। किनभने हाम्रो देशमा उत्पादन हुँदैन, त्यसकारणले।
मोटरसाइकल किन चलाउनु त्यस्तो महँगो भयो?
आवश्यकता। मैले कसैले सोच्दा रहरले हैन, यो आवश्यकता छ। किनभने यहाँको सानो बाटो छिटो छरितोको लागि पनि यहाँ मोटरसाइकल गाडीहरूको तुलनामा सजिलो छ, त्यसकारण
तपाईको बाध्यतै छ कि अब ट्राफिक जामदेखि लिएर हरेक कुरा यो सजिलो हुन्छ। सिंगल साधन जहाँ जान पनि सजिलो हैन। पब्लिक गाडी अब कहिले बन्द हुन्छ हैन, त्यसमा चाहिँ आफ्नो साधन भएपछि सजिलोसँग गर्न सकिन्छ। त्यही भएर पेट्रोल पाइँदैन, अब उपाय छैन, बाध्यता।
यसको समाधान के थाहा भयो है, अब कसरी बढायो किन बढायो मलाई थाहा भएन। जति अब हामी सर्वसाधारण जति तोक्यो त्यो एन्सर दिनु पर्यो, हामी चाहिएको छ, हामीलाई दिनु परिहाल्यो। आवश्यक छ अब छिटोको लागि। बाटो छैन, बाटो गाडीमा चाहिँ तपाईँको 5 मिनट 10 मिनट हुन्छ। बाइक गर्नु सक्छ।
साइकलहरू बनाइदियो, लेन बनाइदियो भने साइकल चलाउनु हुन्थ्यो होला नि।
लेनमा साइकल सजिलो हुन्छ नि त, सबै कुरामा ऊपर त हाम्रो।
Sometimes, yeah, I take out my cycle, and one of my brothers, he take out his motorbike, and then during the petrol crisis, so he have to leave his bike, and then I just can go in my cycle, and they compare, look, like she's cycling, you know, she doesn't have to be in the line, she doesn't have to pay that extra, you know, for the petrol, and it's just so free, like you don't have to depend on external factors, right? I mean, when the petrol comes or shortages, etc.
Kathmandu is getting more and more congested.
The city is growing rapidly, which means you need transportation infrastructure. If you need transportation infrastructure for the future, where do you invest? What is people are thinking about is just build more roads. That's not the way to do it. And experience has shown that that's not the way to do it. People who have been doing this have said that it's not the way to do it. The former mayor of Bogota, Enrique Peñalosa, he said, that just building more roads to solve the traffic problem is like trying to, put out a fire by putting gasoline in it, because it's just going to make the problem worse. And that is something that people haven't realized. And people are finally starting to, look at this issue seriously because of the congestion problem. But you cannot address the congestion problem just by building more roads. That has not gone into the heads of policymakers the way it should. Some people are starting to think in that lines of people-centric transportation modes, but still it's not there.
My name is Parakram Singh Yonjan, and this is where the accident happened. It was 31st October 2011. It was just a regular day for my uncle, who was coming back from his work, and this is the exact spot where he was crushed by a truck.
Dr. Prahlad Yunjan was a conservationist who was internationally recognized, and this was actually covered in a lot of media, and so there was an issue about cycle. The issue of cycle came out, but basically it was negative news that people die if you ride cycle. So we caught that negative energy, and so did an event in tribute to Dr. Prahlad Yunjan. And so we did an event so that even when the policies are not well made and the infrastructures are not well built up, one should be very conscious about their own safety. They should carry on tools like lights and reflectors for their own safety, and be very careful about taking turns and use signals, body language for all that. We built up a graffiti that is Ghost Cycle on the spot where he died, and so the issue of cycle lane and the requirement was also covered.
We would want people to remember what happened over here.
The roads are getting expanded in Kathmandu, and this could be one very good opportunity. We will have some more cycle lanes. So looking into the Kathmandu, this is Kathmandu Valley, and there is a ring road. This is about 27 kilometers of ring road, and the central is the CBD area of Kathmandu Valley. So what we see is we need to have a network of cycle lanes, east to west or north to south.
So where exactly on this map are you building a cycle in the next year?
This ring is going to have a cycle lane, and there are, like, if we say this Baneswar lane, then we'll be having cycle lane, but we still need more cycle lanes.
I would like to think it would be, but I do not believe it will be done in 1 year. I'll be very surprised based on previous experience. I think if the government is saying it will be built, it probably will be built. I'll give it about 3 to 4 years, but I'm happy with that.
The role has to be taken up proactively by the government, but government cannot do it alone.
In a democratic system, it's really people's voice that makes things happen, especially in a system where the government is weak. Now you look at any major decisions that has happened in this country, it's been first the people who have raised their voice, whether that be a political change, okay, or any other policy change. A lot of times it's people driven. Okay? Once people raise their voices, then a lot of times governments are forced to react.
We collected a fund so that we could buy a cycle for the Prime Minister, which was a pretty covered event.
It was a great achievement for Kathmandu Cycle City to hand over the bicycle to Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister himself accepting the bicycle as a gift. They said that after 17 months there will be a big road from Tinkune to Maitikar Mandala, and there will be bicycle lanes. So I think that's the achievement we made. Like, we pushed in the agenda of bicycles in the national agenda, the plans of government. We need to prove them that the cycle lanes they'll be creating, or the things they'll be creating, will be benefited for a huge mass, or big mass.
There has been some campaigns and activities, but I think it's not enough. We have to work more.
People say a lot of things has to be done in this country, and in the same way they say there's nothing to do in this country, and that's not logical, and that's what I've realized. So if there's a lot of things that has to be done, so there is a lot of opportunities here.